we're back.
We are back here on the Cheap Seats. Excuse our little technological difficulties, but we're back and better than ever here on the Cheap Seats.
Better than ever.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've got a good
lack of
sports
calmness
discussion.
Well, we've got some knowledge going on.
Yeah, no Josh Connick, so maybe a little bit more, cerebral discussion.
Absolutely.
Let's talk a little about our sponsors. Jake's Furnishings, located at 1100 Woodlawn Road in Lincoln, open 7 days a week. 735-1212, or go online to jakesfurnishings.com. Jim Grimaldi, criminal defense attorney. Call 217-651-8089. The Christian Village, we're in the house today. The area's leader for senior living and healthcare services. Phone 732-2189 for a tour. Edward Jones Financial Advisor Bob Neal. Call 735-2585 or stop by the office located at 218 South Kickapoo in downtown Lincoln. St. Clair's Manor. Their team's dedication is what makes them special. Phone 735-1507. Lincoln College, where I work. Since 1865, been educating local students. Phone 1-800-569-0556 to schedule your private tour and meeting with a professional admissions counselor, which probably is me. I don't know how professional, though. We will be at Jake's Furnishings, located at 1100 Woodlawn Road, next Saturday, February 4th, my 25th birthday.
Stop in. There will be some gifts for the fans of this radio station. Stop in at Jake's Furnishings. So.
Good stuff. Well, Jake, we've talked a little bit before the show. Today is a turning point for our beloved Fighting Illini, I do believe.
A turning point.
Maybe the turning point in the career of Bruce Weber.
I believe
at
so.
the University of Illinois.
Very, very possible. The new athletic director we have there is he's pretty serious about winning.
Yes.
And which is really nice. It's not the same old, well, he's going to get us through another year. Mm-hmm. It's we want Big Ten titles.
Yep, that's exactly what he said. Is he's been on the record saying that he expects his teams to compete for conference championships, not for national championships or
which, to be
stuff
honest,
like
though,
that. But that's
when you're talking about Big Ten,
yeah.
And you're talking about conference championships.
That's not easy. That's a very lofty goal.
You're also talking about national championships when you get to that level.
Right.
When you throw in Michigan State, when you throw in Purdue, Ohio State, Wisconsin, you're talking about teams that do make the Final Four fairly routinely. Mm-hmm. So, Illinois needs to be mentioned in that breath. And to be honest, Bruce Weber has not gotten the recruiting classes to gel to the point that they are where they need to be.
Except for the last 2 or 3 years, he's had some good recruiting classes. But now you look at those
recruiting classes, but they don't gel.
Exactly. You look at the last 3 recruiting classes. They had their junior class this year. It was Joe Bertrand, DJ Richardson, Brandon Paul, and Tyler Griffey. Well, 3 of the 4 have worked out pretty well, but Tyler Griffey has dropped off the face of the earth for the Illini, unfortunately. You look at 2 years ago, you had what was a just highly touted class with Jeremy Richmond, Crandall Head, and Myers Leonard, and now we've only got one of those guys left. Yeah. And Myers Leonard probably won't be here next year at this rate. At this point, I don't know if he'll be. Yeah, I don't know if he'll be back next year. And then you look at your freshman class this year, which was again highly touted, but we wouldn't know it because only one of them plays consistently, and that's Tracy Abrams. Nana Igwu plays kind of when Bruce needs him to play. When the big guy's in foul trouble, we'll give him a shot.
The problem is, we don't have – actually, we have an aggressive big man. We don't use him as if he is an aggressive big man. Yeah. We stick him out there. He roams the outside. He sets picks. He gets to shoot jumpers. When he should be pushing that guy up to the basket and dunking on him.
In Myers Leonard's defense, I think a lot of that is hard guards are terrible post passers. We cannot get even if he gets the ball in the block, even if he's got a guy sealed, 50% of the time we can't get him the ball.
We don't even look for him.
I mean, you got to get him the ball. Yeah. He's 7'1",
and that's why I believe
freak of nature athletically.
I believe more than likely he is going to leave Illinois unless the new if a new coaching staff comes in.
And can recruit him to stay.
They can recruit him to stay. That's exactly right. Which he knows he's in a good position, school-wise, especially for a junior and senior year, if he can get somebody to get him the ball.
Yeah. I just think today's huge for Bruce. They've lost 2 in a row. two very winnable games.
Two
The
very
one
winnable
at
games.
Penn State especially stings still. I'm just tired of losing basketball games in Happy Valley. That shouldn't happen
Ever.
And then last week's game against Wisconsin. I mean, Wisconsin, you've always got respect for Wisconsin, but they just got out-toughed and out-hustled last week. Coming off a loss to Penn State, you would have loved to see Illinois come in with a little fire in their belly and really run at them. Today they go to Minnesota. If it was at home, I'd feel a little better about it, but you've got to go on the road in the Big Ten to a team that I think the record is, I want to say 15-6. If I'm not mistaken.
And I'll be honest. I mean, at the beginning of the year, I was all up on Sam Maniscalco.
Yeah.
More of a guy that's a true point guard. I like that coming in. But again, he's even proven not to be a post passer.
Yeah.
On top of that, he really has not handled the pressure of Big Ten basketball well at all. And maybe that's due to injury too. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's a good role player. The comparison's been made before to Chester Frazier. I think is comparable. Maybe I don't know.
The thing about Chester Frazier is he would lock you down defensively.
You're right.
So
he's Chester Frazier without the defense.
Without the defense, yeah.
Oof.
Which is scary because the one thing about Chester Frazier, he never gave up on that end of the ball, and he would get you some fast break points because of his pressure.
Yeah.
Maniscalco can't.
The other thing that I think about when I think of Illinois and I think about Bruce Weber's tenure is you look at when he came in the league, when he came to Illinois, it was the class of the Big Ten was pretty much Illinois and Michigan State. In Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Now you look, and if you were to rate the programs in the Big Ten, obviously Michigan State's ahead of us. Ohio State's
the best.
Clearly ahead of us.
Michigan?
Michigan has taken leaps and bounds. Purdue has taken leaps and bounds. Wisconsin is still consistently.
Indiana
is starting to show some signs of life over there. I mean, let's face it, Thad Matta and Tom Crean are not messing around.
No.
We need a coach at the University of Illinois who isn't going to settle for being the 6th or 7th best team. That at Illinois, the standard has always been we are a basketball school. We are going to be consistently one of the best teams in the Big Ten, and that's just not the case right now.
No.
I think Bruce.
It really hasn't been for a few years.
I think he's a good guy. He strikes me as a friendly guy, a good guy, and he's probably a pretty good basketball coach.
And I think a lot of the players like him.
But I just think he's in over his head.
Yeah.
It's just.
And this year, actually, no, it really started last year. It really seemed like he lost a few of his players. And it may have been even before that, the signs of it coming with, Jamar Smith and his antics outside of basketball. And maybe Bruce not putting his stamp on that right then.
The other thing is I feel like within the fan base, and the fan base is kind of, I think, usually representative of the boosters in a program. The first 2 years after the national championship in 2005, Bruce had a lot of the guys defending him still. A lot of people were, you got to give him a chance. He hasn't even, he's just 2 years ago he's in the national championship. Every year, more and more people are falling off the Bruce Weber bandwagon. Yeah. And there may not be anybody left by the end of the year the rate they're going now. They've got to really pick it up if he's going to keep his job.
Yeah, and doesn't he have one more year left on his contract?
I'm not sure. I feel confident that if Illinois is not safely in the tournament, and right now they're probably not. They're a borderline.
Yeah, I was going to say they're borderline right now. Yeah,
they've got to win some big games here going forward.
Yeah, I would have to say they have to be in the tournament. The question is, can they still get there? I mean, they still have some tough games coming up.
Well, those are opportunities, though.
You get a big win. Yeah.
You beat Michigan State, or they still, I think, go to Ohio State. If you beat Ohio State twice, those things kind of look good on Selection Sunday. But we shouldn't be in that position. No. I think is our point.
I don't know if you can beat Thad Matta at home either.
Yeah,
especially after beating him once when
they'll be ready to play.
Nations, so.
They will be ready to play. On the subject of basketball, the Chicago Bulls
17-4.
Pretty impressive season for the Bulls. They got a huge game tomorrow against the Miami Heat. I'm not a huge NBA fan, especially regular season NBA, but I will probably take in that game tomorrow, I think, just to watch. That's a great battle between those.
I'm not a big,
superstar,
like you said, regular season NBA fan, but at the same time, there's not a lot of baseball games on right now unless I'm on the internet. So, and Derrick Rose is fun to watch.
Yeah.
He does.
I think he had 34 last night, I believe.
Right in the, yeah.
Didn't see it. I was at the Raider game. But
the fun thing about him is, compared to a lot of NBA players, he's a lot like Michael Jordan in ways. I'm not saying he's Michael Jordan, but he's an assassin. He goes out there to dominate the game, and he does not like to lose in any way, shape, or form. And I think when he does lose, he takes it personally to the next game.
Yeah.
Which is great to see. You don't see too many NBA players. They're kind of laid back. We lost the last one. We'll get them next time. That's not Derrick Rose. And it's refreshing to see that out of to be honest, a young superstar.
I think he had a telling quote before the season where they asked him, what are your goals for this year? After winning the MVP, he said, all I care about is winning. That's all I care about. That's all he said when he signed his contract extension. He is definitely a winner. He's proven that at every level. He took Simeon to 2 state championships, I believe, in high school, at least 1. I'm thinking 2. He took Memphis, Conference USA program, to the title game, and then he's been nothing but a winner in the NBA. So, the other thing that's impressive
best
about the
record
Bulls,
in the NBA right now, too.
But as we talked before, they're so deep, and they don't care who's hurt, who's playing. It doesn't matter. If you're on the Bulls and you're on the floor, you're playing.
You're expected to play
hard.
and win.
Yeah. I mean, they get after it. That's the thing I think I appreciate about the Bulls is the NBA. So many times you see a guy go down the floor and jack up a bad shot or have a poor possession. But if you watch the Bulls, they play basketball. They run an offense, they play defense, and it's every night. That's a credit to their coach.
Carlos Boozer has definitely stepped up this year compared to last year. Last year, it looked like he signed the contract and kind of took a little bit of the year off. It kind of seemed like at many points of the season, especially in the playoffs. And this year, I tell you what, he's almost a go-to guy.
Yeah.
They're looking for a tough basket every now and then. He'll hit a little jumper or he'll make a little move, and he ends up with 22 points a game right now, I believe, right in that area. So that's pretty impressive nowadays. So they're having a good season. They are fun to watch.
Of course, last week, big football games last week, NFC Championship, AFC Championship. I really got the game I wanted. I know some people would have rather seen the Harbaugh Bowl or whatever, but I really am excited about the rematch in the Super Bowl. I think
these aren't the teams I wanted, but these are the teams I thought were going to be there.
Gotcha.
I hate New York just because I don't know why, to be honest. Because they have a Y, I guess. And then New England, to be honest, you like him or hate him, Tom Brady's a stud, man.
Yeah,
I mean, that guy.
He didn't even play his best game last week, but he still wins. He's a winner.
That's exactly right. And, I've been thinking a lot about this, how to rate this game. We have a week still to pick, but I'm really leaning towards New England right now, just because I think he has a grudge, and I think he was looking past last week to this week, toward this upcoming week, because of the fact they lost a couple years ago, and
possible. Very
we'll
possible.
see.
I think the key to that whole game is going to be really, if you look at the Giants' offense and the New England defense, all season long, those have been two kind of inconsistent units. The Giants are one of those teams where the last 2 or 3 weeks, Eli Manning has really stepped up.
Yep.
He plays great. He's a great playoff quarterback. And the New England defense has given up a lot of yards all year, but they just kind of escape. It seems like down in the red zone, they always get something fortunate. They'll get a big turnover. For whatever reason, nobody can make a field goal against them. Yep. That'll be, I think, where the game is won and lost, is how the Giants are able to score. I mean, I expect New England's offense and the Giants' defense to be very evenly matched, and that'll be entertaining. But when they kind of is inverted, when the Giants have the ball, and the other thing, Giants weren't able to run the ball all year, and now all of a sudden they're
tearing it up,
running it down people's throats.
Well, their defense, especially their front four, they're coming at them.
It's amazing. They lose guys and just bam. Michael Strahan retires, and you think, they'll.
Pierre Paul steps in, and man, that guy, wow.
I think it was O.C. Umenyiora was hurt last year, and they still find a way to apply pressure.
And they do apply a lot of pressure. Tom Brady, though, very good at taking that one step up or that one step to the left or right to get out of it and make a crisp pass. And, right now, like I said, things could change. You never know about what injuries and whatnot are between now and then.
A lot of talk about Gronkowski from New England having a hurt ankle, but that guy's so good.
I was going to say, and with this being the Super Bowl, I don't know.
Yeah, he'll be ready to go. Another big NFL story this week: Peyton Manning sounding off. Peyton Manning is about the most quiet, seemingly mild-mannered guy. So if he kind of flies off the handle a little bit, in his quotes with the media, he's really ticked about what's going on in Indy. I don't think he's going to be back. I don't get that vibe.
I mean, I guess I don't.
I don't think maybe he wants to be back. Part of him probably doesn't want to be back.
I think he wants to be back in Indy. I don't think he wants to play anywhere else, but at the same time, you can't fault Indy either. I mean, you look at that. They paid him $28 million last year to sit on the sideline. And he had experimental surgery on something that they didn't actually approve, and they still paid him and didn't complain about it all year long.
I thought that was this year he was supposed to get paid, the signing bonus, like coming up.
Well, last year it was well over $20 million last year. Yeah. I thought it was 28 last year, and then maybe
I'm
incorrect.
Either way, I just get the vibe from his comments that they fired his GM, they fired his head coach.
Yep. You pretty much have to cut ties, I would say, with that much money on the books.
Yeah.
And you have the opportunity to sign the number 1 draft pick, unless you're looking at trading that number 1 draft pick and
trying to
getting about 12 to 14 picks for him.
Now 12 to 14 picks is different.
Yeah. I'd say definitely 8, minimum 8 picks.
Yeah.
2 first-rounders, probably 3 second-rounders, and that's where you start. I mean, it'd be kind of like the Ricky Williams deal back in the day.
That worked out okay.
It worked out. Didn't work out well for the Saints for a few years. But
Bears are hiring a GM, it looks like, this week, too. Reports I read say it's probably going to be the scouting director from the Kansas City Chiefs. Emery, I think is his name.
Boy, how's Kansas City been the last 5 years?
We're hearing crickets here at the Christian Village. Nobody really has a lot to say about
honestly,
that.
I mean, and you never know until they're in that position because assistant or whatnot that he can put his views in, and the GM can dismiss it or whatnot. So they do sign guys well, I guess, but you're not signing top tier talent either.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That seems kind of a scary sign to me. Why aren't we looking at New England's assistants?
Well, they looked at
Ravens.
New England's. I think it was director of player personnel, I believe, was the other finalist, and they're saying it's between New England's director of player personnel or the Kansas City Chiefs scouting director.
Which basically that means that whoever's the cheapest is more likely who the Bears are going with.
Oh yeah, you gotta love the family ownership and the limits that puts on you.
$19 million under the cap to start the season is what the Bears were.
The other thing that's probably local baseball fans have been paying attention to the last 24 hours is we talked about it before the show. Supposedly, Roy Oswalt
looking to make a decision.
Maybe coming down Interstate 55 to St. Louis.
Ooh, that
would be pretty interesting.
That
to
would
add
be
him to that rotation.
We're slowly becoming Houston of the North. Berkman doing everything he can to talk his very good friend Roy Oswalt into coming to the STL. I guess the rumor is it's a $5 million contract with incentives. That'd be, like I said, that'd be huge for the Cardinals. In a way, it'll give them depth. And with Wainwright coming off the injury, with Garcia not really able to pitch deep into a season like he should, could be a big help for this team. And you never know. I mean, you've got Carpenter, Kyle Loesch, both had a couple injuries the last few seasons. Westbrook's been healthy for 4 years now. So Westbrook. I mean, how's his arm going to hold up? And he's pitched well for the Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, and it seems like the Cardinals live a charmed existence down there.
Yes.
Where you've got Adam Wainwright coming back at 100%. Roy Oswalt finds the fountain of youth, and all of a sudden he's back to the way he was in Houston. Chris Carpenter keeps doing what he's doing, and Jaime Garcia's good for the first 3/4 of the season like
Yeah.
he's been, and they're going to dominate that division. I think the Brewers are going to be tough, but
What about the Reds? The Reds have loaded up a little bit too this
They
year,
have made
too.
some moves. You're right. But
Their hitting really fell off last year. It seemed like compared to the year before, though.
You add to that pitching. You look at that Cardinal pitching
Yeah,
staff.
especially with Wainwright being healthy.
Yeah.
And I guess
he's a Cy Young candidate pre Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, correct. Well, they said he's throwing his fastball at 100%, and it has life and movement, and then he was throwing his curveball at about 75% with good accuracy. So, I mean, that's telling me that he's basically spring training shape.
Oh yeah.
For a regular pitcher. So he's going to come into spring training basically ready to go.
But yeah,
which is
it's a big hole though in that number 3 spot in the lineup. It's going to be a really interesting baseball season this year.
Yeah, you say it's a big hole, but it's at the same time,
it's still a big hole.
No, you're right, but you're also adding with Beltran 300 hitter, which Pujols wasn't. He wasn't last year.
What, he hit 299? I think he did. He hit 299. Yeah.
He was under 300. But you're also not getting the double plays. You're also adding Alan Craig. So you're adding two guys that are 310-plus hitters. I'm not saying that they're going to fill the void, but at the same time, I think they're going to complement the team quite nicely in the fact that we're going to cut out about 40 double plays. We're going to probably cut that number down to
I think
about
you're drinking
20.
a little bit of Kool-Aid. I think you've been drinking a little bit of that Cardinal Kool-Aid. But I will say this. I do think, Matt Holliday has been living in Albert's shadow down there.
Yeah, which is going to change.
And I think that's going to change.
Yeah.
And, I think maybe he can
I think
fill the
Berkman
void.
will fall off a little bit compared to last year, but I don't think much, to be honest. I think he's a 25 home run guy, and I think he's around a 270 hitter, which is that seems to be about right for his career.
Now, who the Cardinals is Furcall's back at shortstop, right?
Furcall's back at
he's
shortstop. He's
going to be your leadoff guy.
And
probably
then,
looking at
Tyler Green, probably at second base between him, Skip Schumacher,
and they're probably hitting 2, and then you got, I'm going to say, Holliday hitting 3, maybe Freeze and Berkman hitting 4 and 5, somewhere in there, and then Beltran in the 6th spot, or you think you hit Beltran in the 2nd?
I'm thinking probably 2.
Yachty's still there too, so
yeah, he'll be 7 or 8 probably. Tyler Green's what's kind of interesting about this whole situation. He's got a lot of pop. He hasn't shown it in the major league level yet, but in AAA, he dominates AAA. And I'm thinking a lot of his reasoning was because of Tony La Russa. We'll see. Matheny had kind of a love affair with Tyler Green down there in Memphis and really got him going. And once Matheny was down there as a special assistant, Tyler Green went on to hit about 360 in AAA with, I think, around 11 home runs. And, every RBI situation you can think of, he drove them in. So he's kind of an interesting guy. I'm really excited to see I was kind of surprised, to be honest, they signed for Call because of Tyler Green and how Matheny views him. So that'll be an interesting little thing there. Alan Craig's real interesting in it too, and John Jay. John Jay obviously has proven himself as a good player. How much they split the playing time between those two guys.
My Cubbies haven't really done a whole lot since the last time I was on the show. A lot of rumors about the Cubs and pursuing the Cuban import. I think his name is Jonas Cespedes or something along those lines. He's a big, strong, muscular guy.
I tell you what, if you put a Cub uniform on him and put him about 35 feet away from you, it looks like Sammy Sosa. I'm telling you, I've watched him a little bit. I've watched baseball on the internet a little bit, and I've watched him in the Dominican Winter League, and it looks like Sammy Sosa playing the outfield. He's big. He's like the fast version, like the younger Sammy Sosa when Sammy was stealing bases and stuff.
Well, is this pre-steroid Sammy Sosa, or
no? This is like early steroid Sammy Sosa, because this guy's big.
That makes a big difference.
This guy's a big boy. He's very large, man. Big square shoulders, a long swing, which, as a baseball player, it kind of worry you. It's not a quick, compact swing in any way, shape, or form. Again, a lot like Sammy Sosa had that real long swing. But, man, when he makes solid contact, that ball explodes.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to think of the Cubs and what they're doing. They need to I think they've got the right leadership in place, but it's going to be a long
couple
and years.
To be honest, what you talk about something not lining up, the way Epstein drafts players, you can no longer draft anymore. You cannot. The Boston Red Sox were notorious for paying well above slot for even third, fourth, and fifth rounders. You can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
With the new collective bargaining agreement. So that's going to be real interesting because now Epstein's going to have to be one of them guys that pays a little more attention. Is this guy thinking more towards college, or is he thinking about possibly coming to the Major League Baseball?
Sure.
Because he's not going to be able to buy him every time. He's going to have to do a lot of scouting, and that's the most difficult part about baseball in general. Pittsburgh Pirates can tell you that. You know, you can't just go out and sign any kid that's coming into the draft. So
big shift, I feel like, in baseball this week. Prince Fielder going to Detroit. The American League is just loaded.
Look at the first basemen. My goodness.
Yeah.
Shira, Pujols, all these guys coming from the National League sticking over there now.
Yeah, you got Texas and the Angels in the West, and some good teams in the American League East, and now Detroit in the Central, and it's just going to be.
Well, Detroit looks like the team to beat, but then again, you can't count out Texas because they've been there 2 years in a row.
Well, the thing about Detroit is that they can pretty much start preparing their postseason rotation right now.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to beat them in that division.
Who in the Central? You know, Kansas City looks like a team that can step up, and probably Kansas City will probably get second in the division this year, but it's not going to be a close second, I don't believe, unless something dramatic happens. I mean, you never know. That's the thing about baseball being such a long season. You get some injuries even mid-season, it can ruin your year. So,
oh yeah, for sure.
You know, we'll see how it all plays out. But Kansas City's going to be fun to watch this year, man. They're not that far away from here. I'm going to go to a few games. I've already got it planned. So they are going to be a fun team to watch.
Gotcha. Well, we'll take a real quick break here. We'll be back, talk about some other sports items for you, and then we'll be leaving you at 10 o'clock. So hang with us real quick, and we'll be right back. And we're back here on the Cheap Seats. Justin Tierney here with you, with the furniture guy, Jake Johnston. One thing I meant to ask Neil Alexander when he was here is how he felt about the Railers being on ESPN this week. Those of you who are fans of SportsCenter or the show Sports Nation might have seen this kind of crazy shot this kid from Chatham hit against Lincoln last week. Daniel Helm, the player from Chatham Glenwood, was going out of bounds last Friday night and kind of caught the ball as he was going out of bounds, and instead of like turning around and saving it, tried to flip it back into play before he went out of bounds and save it, and got a little too much on the flip, and it actually went in the basket.
Best part about the play, and I saw it on YouTube, or not YouTube, Yahoo. I was like, man, that looks like a Lincoln player. Click on it. Sure enough, it is. Best part about it was the guy taking the ball out of bounds was not a Lincoln player. So that means it's against, it went against Glenwood for throwing it back in. So that was pretty awesome, man.
It was.
You see it on YouTube's top clips.
Yeah.
And on ESPN. So.
One of those goofy plays. We were talking kind of during the break about goofy plays. Similar to that, Jake brought up the Jose Canseco with a home run off the head. I think one of my favorites from earlier this year was the guy, I think it was Northern Iowa, maybe in a Division 2A subdivision, whatever they call it, playoff game, had caught the ball. He was a football returning a kick and caught the ball in the end zone and just dropped the ball without taking a knee or anything, and it ended up being a touchdown. That was the difference in the game. So glad to be on the right side of
that was kind of cool.
Fortunate.
Especially on national scale, you get a little treat like that.
2 points for Lincoln on ESPN.
That's exactly right. Take it.
Yeah, sure. Jake, I guess you've got a little shout out you want to give.
A little shout out to the Hartsburg Emden Stags 7th grade team. They won their 7th grade regional there, 37-23 over West Lincoln Broadwell, advancing the Stags to the sectionals in Edinburgh, I believe, versus Decatur. Lady of Our Lords, I believe. I'm not positive the name of the school. So, but congratulations to Hartsburg Emblem. Their 8A team, our 8th grade team, is also playing in the regional this week. I believe they're going to be facing the winner of Hartsburg or West. They'll be facing, if they can beat Greenview, they'll be facing West Lincoln Broadwell there.
Gotcha. So, well, we wish all the luck in the world to all of our youngsters that are out playing some postseason basketball this week. We also I have to give a little shout out to the Mount Pulaski girls basketball team. Down there in Mount Pulaski, girls basketball is taking off. They just beat Williamsville the other night, and I think that puts them at #1 in their conference. And they've slowly but surely building a very good program over there. Coach Eric Lever does a great job. And I also have to give a shout out to my Lincoln College Lynx. The men's team the other night beat the #2 team in the nation, John Wood Community College. They're starting to round into form over there at Lincoln College. They've got a big game this afternoon against Parkland here at home. So if you're looking for a basketball fix on your Saturday, Lincoln College has got a home game today, so go check them out.
Fun to watch.
Sure, yeah, they are. They play a different brand of basketball. And then, of course, I think some of the swimmers, I think those are getting into postseason time, and wrestling getting into postseason time. Once you get into February and March,
February and March, everything starts switching.
Fun time of year for
turn
local
that
sports.
Calendar, and then we got baseball right around the corner too. So
yeah,
we're right there, man.
The regular basketball team, Lincoln. I mean, they took a loss last night, and I don't know how pretty next Friday is going to be against Lanphier. I'd love to go down there and stun Lanphier.
It'd be nice to see how the coach does motivating the kids. I mean, they're playing the #1 team in the state.
Yep.
That right there gives you a little extra get to it. Maybe give you a little extra push in the hip check. Well, whatever it takes, just something extra.
I'll tell you one thing. When it comes postseason time, there's a big X factor in postseason games, and that is coaching.
Yep.
And we have the best coach in Central Illinois as far as I'm concerned. So I wouldn't count the Railers out yet. Don't jump off the bandwagon yet. Hang with them. And I would not be surprised at all to see them make a postseason run this year with Coach Neil Alexander at the helm. So
I think our regional's going through Decatur.
Yep,
right?
they go to Decatur, and then they come back here for sectionals. Hopefully, cross our fingers that we get to play at sectionals at home. And who knows? Anything can happen in a sectional game. Anything can happen then. So, but anyway, we'll wrap it up here on the Cheap Seats. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week at Jake's Home Furnishings.
Jake's Furnishings.
Come on in, get yourself a prize, and talk to Jake.
We're gonna have some very good gifts. For basically any of our listeners that stop in between 9 and 10. A very nice gift.
Come in,
That's
get a
all
gift,
I'm gonna say.
Talk some sports, and maybe buy some furniture.
Okay. Buy whatever you want.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We're going to send you back to some country music here on WLCN.